A dramatic shift in our weather is coming, and I need you to understand just how significant this is going to be. After a period of record-breaking warmth across nearly half the United States, we are about to experience one of the most intense weather pattern reversals of the winter season. A major bomb cyclone, multiple feet of snow, severe weather including tornadoes, and an Arctic blast that will send temperatures plunging 60 degrees in some locations within 24 hours. This is not a typical winter storm. This is a multifaceted, high-impact weather event that will affect millions of Americans over the next 7 days. By the time we reach minute 5 of this forecast, you'll understand exactly what a bomb cyclone is and why this one is so dangerous. At the 15-minute mark, I'll walk you through the day-by-day timeline so you know precisely when these impacts will hit your area, and by the end of this broadcast, you'll have the practical knowledge and safety guidance you need to protect yourself, your family, and your property. This information could save your life. So let me begin with what's driving this entire pattern. The jet stream, that river of air 5 to 7 miles above our heads that controls virtually everything about our weather. Right now, as we move into Saturday and Sunday, the jet stream is setting up in a configuration that meteorologists call a deep trough. And this is creating the perfect environment for rapid storm intensification. Here's a number that should get your attention. The pressure of this storm system is forecast to drop by 24 millibars or more within a 24-hour period. That is the technical definition of a bomb cyclone. When atmospheric pressure drops that rapidly, the storm intensifies exponentially. It's like opening a vacuum. The faster the air rushes in to fill that void, the stronger the winds become, the more moisture gets pulled into the system, and the more violent the weather becomes. The GFS model, one of our most reliable forecasting tools, shows this system crashing to 971 millibars by Monday morning over Michigan. To put that in perspective, hurricane-force storms typically have pressures in the 950 to 970 millibar range. This is an extraordinarily deep low-pressure system for a winter storm, and it's going to create a wide range of dangerous conditions across multiple states. Now, let me explain what's actually happening in the atmosphere, because understanding this will help you grasp why this storm is so powerful. We have two opposing air masses that are about to collide. Very warm, moist air is surging northward out of the Gulf of Mexico. At the same time, Arctic air is pouring southward out of Canada. These two air masses are going to meet along a cold frontal boundary that will stretch from Texas to New Mexico all the way back into New England. When warm air and cold air collide with this much temperature contrast, the atmosphere becomes incredibly unstable. The warm air wants to rise, the cold air wants to sink, and, in between, you get explosive weather development. In the northern portions of this system, where cold air dominates, we're going to see heavy snow, 1 to 2 feet in many areas, with isolated pockets potentially receiving 2 to even 3 feet. In the transition zone between warm and cold air, freezing rain and dangerous ice accumulation, and in the warm sector to the south, severe thunderstorms with damaging winds, large hail, and even tornadoes are possible on Sunday afternoon. This is not an ordinary storm where we're just talking about some showers, some thunderstorms, and a little bit of snow. We are talking about a storm system that will produce snowfall rates of 3 to 4 inches per hour, wind gusts of 50 to 70 miles per hour across a massive area, ice accumulation that will bring down power lines and tree branches, and a severe weather outbreak in late December, which is relatively rare this far north. Let me give you the overall timeline right now, so you can start making your preparations. Today, Saturday, we're watching an intensifying storm system develop over the central and northern plains. By late tonight, snow will begin spreading across the Rockies and into the northern plains. Sunday morning, the storm will be positioned over Iowa, and this is when rapid intensification begins. By Sunday afternoon and evening, heavy snow will be falling across the upper Midwest. Severe weather will be developing across Illinois and Indiana, and freezing rain will be impacting portions of the Northeast. Sunday night into Monday morning is when the storm reaches its peak intensity. Widespread 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts across the Midwest, blizzard conditions in the upper peninsula of Michigan and northern Wisconsin, and Arctic air flooding southward behind the system. By Monday and Tuesday, the storm will be pulling away into Canada, but lake effect snow will continue downwind of the Great Lakes, and brutally cold wind chills will grip the eastern two-thirds of the United States. In Proverbs 22 verse 3, Scripture tells us, "The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and suffer for it." This is wisdom speaking directly to our situation. God has given us the ability to see warnings and the intelligence to respond appropriately. Preparing for this storm is not an act of fear, it's an act of wisdom. Now, let me break down the day-by-day details, because timing is everything with a storm this complex. Starting with what's happening right now, this Saturday. Currently, we have a winter storm that moved offshore from the northeast earlier today. That system produced widespread 4 to 8 inches of snow across most of New York, Northeast, Pennsylvania, and Long Island. In fact, Hartwick, New York saw 11.5 inches by Saturday morning. Other cities east of the Finger Lakes and the Catskills received 8 inches to almost a foot of snow. New York City saw 4.3 inches in Central Park. Connecticut saw more snow than New York City as the storm track shifted, with cities south of Hartford receiving 5 to 9 inches. That storm is now done. Things are clearing out in the Northeast, but that was just the appetizer. The main event is developing right now over the Central Plains. As we go later into today, Saturday afternoon and evening, moisture from 2 different sources is converging. We have Gulf moisture pushing northward and Pacific moisture coming in from the west. All of this is meeting up over the northern plains, and it's going to fuel what happens on Sunday. Late tonight, snow will develop over the Rockies and begin spreading into the northern plains. The storm system itself will be sitting at 999 millibars. Nothing too dramatic yet, but watch what happens next. Sunday morning, the storm will be positioned over Iowa with a central pressure around 1001 millibars. It's actually going to weaken slightly as it approaches Iowa. But then the rapid intensification begins. By Sunday afternoon, heavy snow will be falling across the upper Midwest, including Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and the upper peninsula of Michigan. This is when snowfall rates could reach 3 to 4 inches per hour. With temperatures as cold as they're going to be, we're talking about very fluffy, light snow that will pile up quickly and blow around easily in the strong winds. At the same time, freezing rain will be developing back over portions of the Northeast. More ice problems are on the way for areas that just dealt with a winter storm, and this is critical to understand. Ice accumulation is extraordinarily dangerous. Just a 1/4 inch of ice can bring down tree branches. A 1/2 inch of ice can snap power lines and cause widespread outages that last for days. Sunday afternoon is also when we need to watch for severe weather. And yes, I said severe weather in late December. A corridor from eastern Missouri through Illinois and into Indiana will be under the threat of damaging winds, large hail, and even a few tornadoes between approximately noon and 6 p.m. The biggest threat area will be from St. Louis eastward toward Fort Wayne. This is where we'll have enough wind shear and instability for rotating supercells to develop. The tornado threat will diminish after sunset, but damaging wind gusts will continue even after the tornado risk decreases. By Sunday evening, we'll have heavy snow falling in the upper peninsula of Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. This is going to be a full-blown winter storm. A blizzard threat will exist in these areas because of the combination of heavy snow and extremely high winds. Visibility will drop to near zero at times. Travel will become impossible. While all of that is happening, Arctic air will be pouring out of Canada and circling around the storm system. We're going to have a very sharp temperature divide across the Midwest by Sunday evening. Areas like Illinois and Missouri will still feel like 70 degrees on Sunday afternoon. Meanwhile, areas like Nebraska and Iowa will already be near 0 degrees. You don't have to travel very far for the temperature swing to be dramatic. Sunday night into Monday morning is when the winds intensify to their peak. We are talking about widespread 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts all across the Midwest. Look at what's forecast for Ohio and Kentucky. Wind gusts near 60 to 70 miles per hour are possible near that cold frontal boundary. These are winds strong enough to cause isolated to scattered power outages, strong enough to blow over high-profile vehicles, strong enough to turn falling snow into complete whiteout conditions. By early Monday morning, the storm will be positioned over Michigan with a central pressure down to 971 millibars, according to the GFS model. This confirms that we will likely have a bomb cyclone. The pressure will have dropped by more than 24 millibars within 24 hours. At this point, snow will continue across the upper peninsula of Michigan and into northern Illinois, though the heaviest snow will have shifted northward into Canada. Heavy bands of snow will be falling across parts of Canada on Monday. But if you're in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, your snow is far from over. Very strong northerly winds will set up across the Great Lakes, and this is when lake effect snow becomes a major problem. There are going to be 3 different areas where major lake effect snow develops. First, downwind of Lake Superior across the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Second, downwind of Lake Michigan across central, western, and northern Michigan. And third, downwind of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario across western New York. I fully expect at least 1 to 2 feet of additional snow in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan from lake effect alone by Monday night. By Tuesday, light snow will continue across the Northeast as the main storm system finally moves out, but our weather pattern is going to remain very favorable for what meteorologists call Alberta clippers. These are fast-moving storm systems that drop out of Canada and bring quick shots of snow. Multiple Alberta clippers are forecast for the middle and end of next week. Though these are not looking major as of right now, they will keep temperatures below normal and bring frequent rounds of light to moderate snow. Now, let me show you the snow totals we're looking at because this is where the numbers become truly significant. These are early model estimations, but they're showing a consistent signal. The GFS model indicates widespread 1+ foot of snow across the Upper Peninsula of Michigan and northern Wisconsin. Some pockets could see 2 to even 3 feet of snow, which would obviously be very significant for this area. A widespread 8 to 12 inches of snow is forecast from Minneapolis into northern Wisconsin near Wausau. Areas like Green Bay, Milwaukee, and Chicago, you are going to probably be left out from the majority of the snowfall. The track of this storm keeps the heaviest snow to your north, but don't let that give you a false sense of security, because you're still going to deal with extremely high winds and a dramatic temperature crash. And if the storm track shifts even 50 miles, those snow totals could change significantly. Let me talk now about the regional impacts in more detail because each area is going to face different challenges, starting with the upper Midwest. Minnesota, Wisconsin, northern Michigan, this is ground zero for the heaviest snow. You're looking at 1 to 2 feet of heavy wet snow on Sunday, transitioning to lighter, fluffier snow as the coldest air moves in Sunday night and Monday. Snowfall rates of 3 to 4 inches per hour are possible during the peak of the storm Sunday afternoon into Sunday night. Wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour will create blizzard conditions. Visibility near zero. Travel impossible. And even after the main storm moves out, lake effect snow will continue Monday and Tuesday, potentially adding another 1 to 2 feet in favored downwind locations. If you live in this region, you need to prepare now. Stock up on food, water, medications, batteries. Make sure you have a way to heat your home if the power goes out. Have flashlights and battery-powered radios ready. Check on elderly neighbors. Make sure your snow removal equipment is in working order, because once this storm hits, you're not going anywhere for at least 24 to 36 hours, moving south into Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio. Your main threats are severe weather on Sunday afternoon, followed by extremely high winds Sunday night and Monday. The tornado threat will be confined to a roughly 5-hour window from about noon until 5 or 6 p.m. on Sunday. The area from Louis through central and southern Illinois into Indiana is where you need to be most vigilant. Have multiple ways to receive warnings. Know where your safe place is in your home. And take every tornado warning seriously. After the severe weather threat ends, the wind threat continues and actually intensifies. Sunday night into Monday, wind gusts of 50 to 70 miles per hour are possible, especially near the cold front. These winds can easily cause power outages. Secure loose outdoor items. Avoid unnecessary travel. And be prepared for the possibility of being without power for a period of time. Behind the front, temperatures will crash. Areas like Chicago will go from near 60 degrees on Sunday to wind chills near 0 degrees by Monday morning. That is a 60-degree temperature swing in less than 24 hours. For the Northeast, you just dealt with one winter storm, and now another round of impacts is on the way. Freezing rain is the main concern Sunday into Sunday night. Ice accumulation will create extremely dangerous travel conditions. Power outages are likely in areas that see more than a quarter inch of ice. If you don't have to travel Sunday or Monday, don't. Stock up on essentials now while you can still get out safely. Charge all electronic devices. Have backup power sources for medical equipment if you rely on electricity for health needs. Now, I want to spend some time on practical safety guidance because this is where information becomes action. And action is what keeps you safe. Let's start with winter driving. Since many of you will face the decision of whether or not to travel during this storm, here's my advice: don't. But I know that's not always realistic. Some of you have to work, some of you have family obligations, some of you will need to travel no matter what I say. So if you must drive in winter weather, here's what you need to know. First, slow down. I cannot emphasize this enough. The posted speed limit assumes ideal road conditions. On ice and snow, ideal doesn't exist. Cut your speed by at least 15 to 20 miles per hour below the limit, or if visibility is reduced. Why? Because your stopping distance on ice is 3 to 9 times longer than on dry pavement. At 60 miles per hour on ice, you could need more than 500 feet to stop. That's more than 1.5 football fields. Physics doesn't care how good a driver you think you are. Second, increase your following distance dramatically. The normal 3-second following distance becomes 6 to 8 seconds minimum on snow and ice. Give yourself room to react. Give yourself room to stop. Tailgating in winter weather is how multi-car pileups happen. Third, no sudden movements. Accelerate slowly and smoothly. Brake gently and early. Turn gradually. Any sudden input to your steering wheel, brakes, or gas pedal can break traction and send you into a slide. If you do start to slide, resist the temptation to slam on the brakes. Steer in the direction you want to go, and ease off the gas. Fourth, know when to get off the road. If you can't see more than a few car lengths ahead because of blowing snow, find a safe place to pull over. If traffic is moving at 15 miles per hour on the interstate because conditions are so bad, consider exiting and finding a hotel. No destination is worth your life. According to the Federal Highway Administration, 70% of winter weather-related crashes happen on wet pavement, and 15% happen on snowy or slushy pavement. These crashes kill over 1,300 people and injure more than 116,000 people annually. Don't become a statistic. Fifth, prepare your vehicle. Before this storm hits, make sure you have a full tank of gas. Have an emergency kit in your car that includes blankets, extra warm clothing, flashlight, first aid supplies, non-perishable food, water, ice scraper, small shovel, and sand or kitty litter for traction. Make sure your phone is fully charged before you leave. Tell someone where you're going and when you expect to arrive. Now let's talk about home preparation. If you live in an area expecting heavy snow or ice, there are steps you should take now. Protect your pipes. Any pipes in unheated areas of your home, like basements, attics, or garages, are at risk of freezing when temperatures drop as dramatically as they will behind this storm. Open cabinet doors under sinks to allow warmer air to circulate around pipes. Let faucets drip slightly to keep water moving. If you have outdoor faucets, disconnect hoses and shut off water to those lines. Have a backup heating plan. If your furnace runs on electricity and the power goes out, you need another way to stay warm. A fireplace or wood stove is ideal if you have one. Make sure you have plenty of firewood. Space heaters can work, but use them safely. Never leave them unattended. Keep them away from anything flammable. And make sure you have working smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors, because the risk of house fires and carbon monoxide poisoning increases during power outages when people use alternative heating sources. Stock up on food and water. You should have enough non-perishable food for at least 3 days. Water supplies can be disrupted during winter storms, so have 1 gallon of water per person per day stored. Don't forget about medications. Make sure you have at least a week's supply of any prescription medications you need. Power outage supplies are critical. Flashlights and extra batteries. Battery-powered or hand-crank radio to receive emergency information. First aid kit. Basic tools. Matches and candles in safe holders. If you use a generator, never run it indoors or in an attached garage. Carbon monoxide poisoning kills dozens of people every year during winter storms because generators are used improperly. Let me talk about cold weather health risks because this is something many people underestimate. Frostbite can occur in as little as 5 to 10 minutes when wind chills drop below zero. The most vulnerable areas are your fingers, toes, ears, and nose. Early signs of frostbite include numbness, white or grayish skin, and firm or waxy skin texture. If you suspect frostbite, get indoors immediately. Warm the affected area gradually with warm, not hot, water. Do not rub the area. Seek medical attention. Hypothermia is even more dangerous. This happens when your body loses heat faster than it can produce it, causing your core temperature to drop below 95 degrees. Warning signs include shivering, confusion, slurred speech, drowsiness, and loss of coordination. Hypothermia is a medical emergency. Call 911 immediately. Move the person to a warm location. Remove any wet clothing. Warm the person gradually with blankets or body heat. Who is most at risk? The elderly, young children, people with heart conditions or circulation problems, and anyone without adequate shelter or heating. If you know someone who fits these descriptions, check on them regularly during this cold outbreak. Offer to help them prepare. Make sure they have a way to stay warm. Here's something most people don't think about. Layering your clothing properly makes a huge difference. Start with a moisture-wicking base layer next to your skin. Add an insulating middle layer like fleece or wool. Top it off with a wind-resistant and waterproof outer layer. Wear a hat, because you lose a tremendous amount of body heat through your head. Wear gloves or mittens. Mittens are warmer than gloves because your fingers generate and share heat. Wear insulated, waterproof boots, and cover your mouth with a scarf to protect your lungs from extremely cold air. Know when to stay indoors. When wind chills drop below zero, limit your time outside. If you must go out, stay out for short periods and warm up frequently. Watch for warning signs of frostbite and hypothermia. If your clothing gets wet, change immediately. Wet clothing loses all of its insulating value. Now let me talk about what happens after Monday, because this cold pattern is not going to be brief. By Tuesday, that Arctic air will spread to the East Coast, covering literally the entire eastern half of the United States. Wind chills will be below zero for most of the Midwest both Monday and Tuesday morning. The Northeast will see temperatures 10 to 20 degrees below normal. And by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, another shot of Arctic air appears likely across the Midwest and Northeast. This second push of cold air likely won't come with as much snow as we're talking about this weekend, but it will bring another very intense blast of cold air with even stronger winds. Combined with all the snow on the ground, it's going to feel very wintry. The jet stream configuration supports this pattern continuing. Once this pattern locks in, it tends to persist for weeks. What we're seeing is a fundamental shift from the mild weather we've had to a much colder and more active winter pattern. Alberta clippers will be coming out of Canada repeatedly, bringing frequent rounds of snow and keeping temperatures below normal. This isn't just a one-storm event. This is a pattern change. Looking ahead to the extended outlook, models suggest this cold pattern will dominate through at least the first half of January. Week 2 and Week 3 temperature outlooks show below normal temperatures across much of the eastern United States. Additional storm systems are possible, though details beyond 7 days are always uncertain. What we can say with confidence is that winter is tightening its grip, and it's not letting go anytime soon. Let me pause here and offer some spiritual perspective. In 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, Paul writes, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." I share all of this detailed weather information not to frighten you but to equip you. Fear paralyzes, wisdom prepares. You have power over your situation through preparation. You have love that motivates you to protect your family and help your neighbors. And you have a sound mind that allows you to assess risk and make good decisions. Weather events like this can feel overwhelming. They disrupt our plans. They create inconvenience and sometimes real hardship. But they also reveal character and create opportunities for community. Winter storms have a way of bringing people together. We check on neighbors. We help dig each other out. We share resources when power goes out. We offer shelter to those without heat. There's something beautiful about that. Something that reminds us we're not meant to live isolated, independent lives. Maybe you're the person who's going to shovel an elderly neighbor's driveway without being asked. Maybe you're the one who's going to invite someone without heat to stay in your warm home. Maybe you're the one who's going to check on the single mom down the street to make sure she has enough food and supplies. These acts of kindness matter. They reflect the character of Christ. They demonstrate love in practical ways. In Matthew chapter 6 verse 34, Jesus says, "Therefore do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own." This doesn't mean we shouldn't prepare. It means we shouldn't let anxiety consume us. We do what we can. We prepare wisely. We help others. And then we trust. There's also wisdom in Psalm 46 verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. When the storm hits, when the power goes out, when you're stuck at home and the wind is howling, remember that you have a refuge that goes beyond physical shelter. You have a God who is present in trouble, who gives strength when you feel weak, who provides peace in the midst of chaos. I want you to understand something important. Preparation is not the opposite of faith. Preparation is faith in action. When you stock up on supplies, you're exercising the wisdom God gave you. When you help your neighbor prepare, you're loving others as God commands. When you make safe decisions about travel, you're stewarding the life God entrusted to you. This is faith lived out practically. Now, let me bring this together and summarize the key points one more time, because this information is critical. A major bomb cyclone will develop over the Midwest this weekend. The storm will rapidly intensify from Saturday night through Monday morning, with the central pressure potentially dropping to 971 millibars. This is an extraordinarily powerful winter storm. Heavy snow of 1 to 2 feet is forecast across the upper Midwest, with isolated areas potentially receiving 2 to 3 feet. Snowfall rates could reach 3 to 4 inches per hour during the peak of the storm Sunday afternoon and evening. Blizzard conditions will develop across the upper peninsula of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, and Minnesota. Lake effect snow will continue Monday and Tuesday, adding another 1 to 2 feet in favored locations. A severe weather outbreak is possible Sunday afternoon across Illinois and Indiana. The tornado threat will be confined to approximately a 5-hour window from noon to 6 p.m. Damaging winds, large hail, and a few tornadoes are all possible in the warm sector ahead of the cold front. Freezing rain will impact portions of the Northeast Sunday into Sunday night. Ice accumulation will create dangerous travel conditions and likely cause power outages in areas receiving more than a quarter inch of ice. Wind will be a major factor across a huge area. Widespread wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour are forecast Sunday night and Monday across the Midwest and Ohio Valley. Some areas near the cold front could see gusts of 60 to 70 miles per hour. These winds will create blizzard conditions in snow areas and cause isolated to scattered power outages elsewhere. An Arctic blast will follow the storm. Temperatures will drop dramatically Sunday night and Monday. Wind chills will fall below zero across much of the Midwest Monday and Tuesday morning. The cold will spread to the East Coast by Tuesday. Another shot of Arctic air appears likely later next week. Here are your action items, prioritized by what's most important. Number 1. If you live in the heavy snow zone from Minnesota to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, prepare to be stuck at home for at least 24 to 36 hours starting Sunday afternoon. Stock up on all essentials today. Make sure you have heat, food, water, medications, and emergency supplies. Check your snow removal equipment now. Number 2. If you live in the severe weather zone across Illinois and Indiana, have multiple ways to receive warnings on Sunday. Know where your safe place is. Take every tornado warning seriously. Tornadoes in late December are rare but not impossible, and this setup has all the ingredients. Number 3. If you live in the ice zone across portions of the Northeast, prepare for power outages. Charge all devices. Have backup power sources. Stock up on supplies. Avoid travel Sunday and Monday if at all possible. Number 4. Everyone in the eastern half of the United States needs to prepare for extreme cold Monday through at least Thursday. Protect your pipes. Have a backup heating plan. Check on vulnerable neighbors, especially the elderly and those living alone. Number 5. Avoid unnecessary travel from Sunday through Tuesday across the entire impact zone. If you must travel, prepare your vehicle with an emergency kit and tell someone your route and expected arrival time. This is by far one of the most intense storms we've seen so far this season. The combination of heavy snow, severe weather, high winds, and extreme cold makes this a multifaceted, high-impact event. But you have time to prepare. You have the information you need to make good decisions, and you have the ability to help others prepare as well. I will continue to monitor this storm and provide updates as the forecast evolves. Weather patterns this complex can shift, and small changes in the storm track could mean big differences in who sees the heaviest snow or the worst ice. Check back frequently for the latest information. As we face this challenging weather event, I want to leave you with encouragement. You are prepared, you are informed, you know what's coming, and you know what to do. Trust in your preparation, trust in your community, and trust in the God who has not given you a spirit of fear but of power and love and a sound mind. Stay safe, look out for one another, and remember that even the strongest storm eventually passes. God bless you and keep you safe through this weather event and always.